Hi, fourth graders. You're going to come away from this lesson today with an outline of your state speech. So you might be asking yourself, though, how is the state speech that I'm about to write different from the state report that you already wrote? Well, that's a great question. Let's go through some of the differences. The main difference is in the purpose of this speech. When you're writing your speech, you are trying to persuade, or in other words, convince your audience that your state is great. Coming back to that original question we've always been asking, what makes my state great? Now your job is to convince the audience. Whereas when you wrote your state report, your purpose was to inform your audience about several different topics that you were required to write about, such as the climate, the places to visit, economy, history, and so on. Okay, so note that your state speech will be shorter in length, and you can do a silent cheer for that. I know how hard you worked on your state reports, and it's probably a relief to hear that this will be shorter in length after you put in all that work on the state report. And it's simply going to include an introduction, 2 to 3 reasons that your state is great, and a conclusion. Whereas your state report was much longer and you had several subtopics that you had to cover. Moving on to this next part. Also, you can do a silent cheer for this if you're excited. You will actually be reading your speech out loud in front of your classmates or on a recording during a future social studies class. Hooray! Whereas with your state report, your typed state report was in Google Drive and your teacher will read it, and we are excited to read those. And you may also wish to share that document with family and friends to show off your hard work. Sorry if you hear there's a siren in the background. Hope that's not too distracting. And the last big difference is that your state speech must reference something from your project board, and we'll help you do that. Whereas you know that your state report was separate from all of those project board choices that you have been working on. So next question you might be asking is, what will my outline look like? Well, here's an example for Illinois. So, and this is just such an important note, I put it right here in the beginning. For each reason you pick, make sure that you will have enough details to support it. I'm about to show you how I came up with some of my reasons for Illinois. And as you can see right here, they're pretty short, right? One was Illinois boasts a fascinating history. The other is that the land is excellent for farming. And the third is that there are so many great attractions to visit in Illinois. Now, those are good reasons, but I only picked them because I know that I have a lot more detail that I can give. The outline is just going to list your reasons, but be ready because next time you're going to actually have to say more about your reasons to again, persuade your audience and get them excited about coming to visit your state. Okay, so this is what my Illinois outline looks like. I had my 3 reasons. Then I took those 3 reasons and I put them into a thesis statement, and that's what you'll see up here. So, and we'll guide you through how to do this, but I said Illinois is a spectacular state because of its fascinating history, fertile farmland, and incredible attractions that draw in visitors from all over the world. And you notice that those 3 items listed, the history, the farmland, the attractions, those match with my 3 reasons. And we'll talk more about that as we talk about a thesis statement. And then a conclusion. What are you waiting for? It's time to start planning your next trip to Illinois. So the next question you might be asking is, how am I supposed to come up with my reasons to support my claim that my state is great? Well, we have a formula for you to follow. Your first reason is going to come from something that you did for your project board, for those project board choices you've been working so hard on. So simply list out the 4 project board choices that you already did, such as a recipe must-see list, a bar graph, biography, drawing, news report, etc. And if you can't remember what 4 you picked, because I know we've spread them out over a few weeks, just look back in the Google folder you made called Last Name State Project Choices, and you should have all of those organized right there. So list out the 4 that you picked, and then go back and highlight the choice that provides the best evidence to show why your state is great? You just picked your first reason if you've done that. So for instance, when I was writing about Illinois, I realized that some of the choices I had done were a must-see list and a biography and a recipe and a drawing. But I thought, my must-see list will really tell the audience why my state is great. All those attractions are really going to make them want to come visit, make them think it's a great state. So that's what I chose as my reason. And actually, you see, I listed it as reason number 3 on my outline. We'll talk about that in a few moments. You don't necessarily have to put the reasons in order you come up with them. We're going to put them so that we end with our strongest. Okay, so if I were doing this for Illinois, I would have highlighted my must-see list. So you can do that for your state. Then reason number 2 is going to come from something you wrote in your state report. Your job is to read back over your state report and find 1 to 2 more reasons that provide the best evidence to show why your state is great. We keep coming back to that. That is your main purpose here. And here's a really helpful hint. Pick reasons that already have a lot of details and research to support them and highlight those in your report. Once you've done that, you will have picked all your reasons. So let me show you how I did that with Illinois. So I looked back at my Illinois state report. Please ignore these highlights. That's highlighted for a different reason. But as I was reading through, I was looking for evidence about why my state is great. So I read through the climate. I actually read through this paragraph about tornadoes and said Illinois has 64 tornadoes a year and tornadoes have killed more people in Illinois than any other state. That's a pretty tragic fact. And it was important to put in my state report, but I was definitely not going to pick that for my state speech. I think that's something sad about my state, not something that makes my state great. So I kept on reading. And as I was reading the history, I saw I had so much detail in here, and it was fascinating to read about. Ding, 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 I found a reason. So as you saw, one of my reasons was that Illinois boasts a fascinating history. And I know I have all of these details and research that I can come back to when I'm trying to expand out that specific reason in my argument. Okay, and then I kept reading through. You might find a good reason in your places to visit. I ended up finding another reason in my economy, and it really stood out to me that the agricultural industry was so prominent in Illinois. And it said, I had details like this. It's the nation's 2nd largest producer of corn and soybeans, and the 4th largest producer of hogs. Those details helped me know, oh, this is going to be a strong reason to show why Illinois is great, which is why I chose that as another one of my reasons. Okay, so once you've gone through these steps, the purple and the blue, you will have all your reasons. Now you might be asking, how do you put your reasons into an outline? Well, the first job I'll have you do is just fill out your reasons first. Reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3. And we're actually going to say reason 3 is an optional one. You need to have at least one reason from something you did for your project board, at least one reason from your state report. But if you find another reason that you really want to use, either from your state report or your project board, you're welcome to put in a third. That will make your speech even stronger. But I know you can still write a very strong speech just with 2 reasons and some really good details that we'll add later. Okay, so first fill out your reasons, and then you're going to go back and write a thesis statement. Say that word with me, thesis statement. And a thesis, you'll hear this all the time in your academic career between now and middle school and high school and even college. It's a sentence, or sometimes a few sentences, provided at the beginning of your speech that declares what you believe and how you intend to prove it. Thesis will do 2 things. Part 1 states your claim, and part 2 lists your 2 to 3 reasons. Okay, say those again with me. Part 1 states your claim, and part 2 lists your 2 to 3 reasons. So we all pretty much have the same claim that your state is great, right? So mine was Illinois is great, or yours will be whatever state you have is great. However, you might want to jazz up that language a little bit. So for instance, you saw in my thesis statement, I said, Illinois is a spectacular state. Now we add our because and then list your reasons. So I had because of its fascinating history, fertile farmland, and incredible attractions that draw in visitors from all over the world. Simple as that. Then you have your thesis statement. Okay, and the last little part of your outline is just for your conclusion. We'll build this out more later, but for now you can say, what are you waiting for? It's time to start planning your next trip to, and fill in your state's name. Okay, and we will again add more details to this outline when you actually write your speech next time. But for now, your main objective is to have an outline with your reasons, either 2 or 3, your thesis statement, and then your short conclusion. Okay, good luck. Can't wait to see those outlines.